So is this you? You've set New Year's resolutions a year after year only to forget them by January 5th? Or maybe you gave up long ago on New Year's resolutions because you're like, they just don't work. I am here to help. New Year's resolutions are my jam. They really can work, but you have to learn how to do them the right way. New Year's is a great time to reflect on your life and set some new intentions for that brand new fresh year. But again, you gotta do them well. So in this video, I'm going to share with you from my 30 years of life coaching experience, 7 ways that people do New Year's resolutions wrong and how to do them right. We're going to look at the do's and don'ts. And definitely stick with me because number 7 is going to surprise you a little bit or a lot, especially coming from a life coach. And then stick with me. I've got a few more videos coming out in the next few weeks to help you even more to set those really powerful New Year's resolutions so this next year can be truly different for you. You ready? Let's get into this. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Erdman-Luntz. I've been a life coach and yoga educator for over 30 years, and my specialty is helping people to live their extraordinary life, to really help you dig in and figure out what it is you really, really, really want, and then go for it. Make that your reality. Let's hop right into these 7 do's and don'ts. Number 1, don't set resolutions from a place of frustration. Do decide what you want and get excited about where you're going. Stick with me here. This is what happens. We usually set our resolutions based on a frustration we have in our life. We look in our mirror and we don't like how we look. We go to our job and we don't enjoy what we're doing there. We look at our checkbook and we don't like the way it looks, right? We're frustrated, and so we want to change things. Totally understandable, 100% okay to start there. But what you want to do then is say, so what do I want? What do I want to create for myself and get excited about moving toward that? I want to be fit and fabulous and energized. I want to be at a job where I feel appreciated and I'm fully utilizing all of my skills. I want to feel fantastic about the money I have in the bank. I have so much money and money to spare, right? We don't want to set our goals based on trying to get away from something we don't want. We want to set goals based on what it is we're moving toward, and we're excited about what we're moving toward. It is much easier for our brain. I'm not going to go into this detail, but just imagine it's much nicer for our brain to be thinking about a positive thing that we're working toward than a negative thing we're trying to get away from. It's much easier to get yourself to exercise if you're excited about feeling energized and fit and fabulous than if you're tired about feeling fat, right? Like, we want to move towards something exciting. Number 2, don't think small. Do think with your dream in mind. You want to start to tap into what is your extraordinary life. What is that life that you really, 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 really want? I do 4 reallys. The 4th one is italicized because I want you to get into your heart of hearts. Okay, really think about what will excite you about life. What is it that you really want to have? Now, if this is hard for you, stay tuned. I have a video coming out, I think next week, and we're going to talk about how to tap into what you really, 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 really want, because that can be hard because so many of us are mired in being realistic, being practical, and often our dream is hidden beneath layers and layers of you can't do that, you can't have that, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. When we start to get excited about a life that we really want, that really lights us up, and that our next goal that we've set is going to get us closer to that, can you feel how it's going to make it so much more powerful because it's getting you towards something even bigger and more exciting? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Number 3, don't set the same goals year after year, or maybe do. There is a chance that you have set the same goal year after year and you're not achieving it. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes it's because it's time to move on. It's time to set a different goal. Maybe it's not based on your overall dream. Maybe it's not exciting enough for you to really move toward it and make it worth your time, your effort, your intention, your attention, etc. Or maybe it is. And maybe you've been slowly getting yourself to it. Maybe it's like that final step and you're not there yet because you've been working your way toward it. I want you to take a good hard look at those goals if you've been setting the same ones again and again, and make sure they actually do represent the life that you really want. And if you're still not achieving them, stay tuned. The videos I've got coming out pretty soon are going to help you figure out how you can make sure that you actually work toward that goal in the new year. Number 4, don't change everything overnight. Do start small. Okay, stick with me. First of all, I want you to think big, but start small. So we are going to think in terms of our huge dream, right? Like that needs to be big, but it's so much easier to change when we do small incremental shifts over time. And then it's easier to stay consistent, right? Okay, there's a caveat to that. And I want you to hear this because I do think it's so important. There are times in our lives when we are ready for a quantum leap. We are ready to wipe the slate clean and change our exercise, change our diet, change our job, change our relationships, move. Like we are ready to do it all. And it's the perfect time for it. And I'm telling you, you know when that's true for you. So if I'm saying this and you're like, yes, that's me, I say go for it. 100% go for it. Here's the thing. Chances are all of it isn't going to stick. Okay, I've gone through 3 quantum leaps in my life and I've retained maybe 70% of the changes that I made. It is very hard to hold that many changes because it does take energy, as we talked about. It takes energy to change. It's so much easier to follow the status quo in life, let your days be all the same, right? And the problem when you're doing that sweep and then you can't maintain all of it is you can feel like you failed. Here is what I'm going to tell you. 30 years of life coaching professionally, over 30 years. I've written books on this. I've done this myself. I am giving you professional expert permission to be okay with not sustaining all of it. It's not failure. I mean, I tell people, go ahead, shoot for the stars. You're going to at least land on the moon, right? You're still on the moon. Let's not think about the things that you didn't achieve. Let's look at what got you on the moon, right? Like, I want you to think about that. So if you're ready for tons of changes, I say go for it. And then you're going to see what pans out, right? You might hold all of it. You might only be able to sustain half of it. You may sustain only 25%, but you've sustained 25%, right? Okay, so let's set aside that caveat. Let's go back to incremental changes because most of the time change occurs in those incremental shifts that we do consistently over time. And I do think that is usually the better way to go, but I'm telling you, if that does not resonate with you and you're ready for big changes, go for it. Do not listen to me, listen to the last thing I said, right? Do's and don'ts. Number 5, don't hang out with the same crowd, or maybe do. Stick with me. Depending on the changes you want to make, you're going to want to have your community represent those changes. So if you're looking to cut back on your drinking, you're not going to want to hang out with your friends who drink all the time. I'm not saying cut them out. I'm saying reduce your exposure to them. Find the people who support where you're going. It makes a really big difference. There's this great quote from Jim Rohn. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that. Make sure that at least 3 of those people are helping you move forward in your life and taking you into the place that you want to be and aren't supporting the habits and behaviors that you are looking to move away from. Sometimes it means upgrading your community. So that's something to think about as you move into the new year. Do's and don'ts. Number 6, don't forget about self-care. Do take great care of yourself. Okay, I talk about this one a lot. If you've been following me for a while, you know it probably comes up in half of my videos, and that's because self-care is your fuel. So here's the thing. Change takes energy. That's why people say it's so hard. It is so much easier to maintain the status quo and to just fall into those habits so you don't have to think. You just take your daily life one day at a time. Every Monday's the same, every Tuesday's the same, every morning's the same, every evening's the same. So when you want to change things, you have to be intentional, and that takes energy and focus. And to maintain that takes self-care. And it's going to take probably a shift in the self-care that you're already doing, because whatever you're doing now got you where you are right now. So you really want to pay attention to your self-care. And I've got a few self-care videos that I've shared here. So I will link to them below. And you can also check out my course, the Radical Self-Care Toolkit, which would definitely help you. It helps you tap into what it is you really need, where you need to up-level your self-care in order to give yourself the fuel to make the changes you want to make. Do's and don'ts, number 7. And this one might be a bit of a surprise coming from a life coach, but here it is. Don't assume it's all going to be roses like we always do on New Year's, right? We've got this, it's going to be awesome. Instead, you want to plan for failure. Yep, I said it, and is it a little shocking? Probably, but I'm telling you, everyone wants to quit at some point. Everybody wants to quit. It's not just you. I know it can feel like everyone else has all this willpower, I don't, blah, blah, blah. No, everybody's going to want to quit, and so you want to have a plan for it. What are you going to do when that happens? What are you going to do when you realize a week has gone by and you haven't done any of the action steps you committed to, or 2 weeks or a month? Life happens. Life can sweep you up and you don't even realize you're not getting up early anymore to exercise. You get sick for a few days and then you forget to get back to it. Or a child gets sick and then they get the priority of your time, and rightly so. But then they get better and you forget what you were doing. I got some ideas for you. The first one is, and I think this is the most important thing you can do, and that is to have reminders to check in with yourself and your resolutions periodically. Now, at a minimum, once a month. Once a month to sit down and look at your goals. Just have it in your calendar. Once a month, I'm going to reflect on my life, where I am. It is totally normal to have a month or 2 months go by where you haven't done anything. And instead of feeling like it's a failure, I, as a life coach, 30 years of experience, over 30 years of experience, I'm going to tell you that this happens to everybody. And I give you permission to not see that as a failure, but instead to say, I haven't been doing this. It's time to get back. That's totally normal. It's totally normal to not be super regular and consistent for the rest of your life, right? Like, things happen. So have a periodic time when you can check back in with yourself and see how things are going. Where am I with my goals? Is it first quarter? Is it second quarter? Is it third quarter? And stay tuned. I got a video coming out where I'm going to help you plan your year. I'm just helping you get ready. Now, personally, I do a big one at the beginning of the quarter. I do a little bit at the beginning of every month because I plan my month. I'm hoping you do too. I sit down and think, what do I need to do with my physical body? What do I need to do with the home? What are my plans for my business? And then I also do it every Sunday. Every Sunday morning, I sit down with my cup of tea and I pull out my week and I plan my week and I really get into how am I doing on my goals? Is this a week where I really can move forward? Or is there something else going on where I'm going to be a little distracted? That's okay, right? It's okay to take vacations. It's okay to take breaks. And this is really number 2, is I want you also to realize it's okay to take breaks. This is important enough to give it a separate number, because here's the thing. Sometimes other things in your life are going to take up that energy you had set aside to make changes. Remember how I said it takes energy to make change? And sometimes something comes up where it's like, wow, this is more important and it's going to take up my energy, and that's okay. So I'm going to take the next week off. I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I'm going to take a month off. I'm going to take the next quarter off, but do it with intention. Okay, I am taking it off because this is more important. I need to put my energy into this. And I'm going to put into my calendar. I literally have a calendar reminder that pops up on my phone or my computer that says, check in with your goals. Is it time to get back into it? Because otherwise, I do it too. 30 years of helping people do this. And I do it too, where it's like I get caught up in life and another year goes by and it's like, shoot, I didn't do that. I didn't do what I wanted to do. So now I just make sure I remind myself. Now, the other piece to this one is also to check in with yourself and say, but is this a goal I still want? Did I take a break because it's not something I want anymore? Have I moved on? Have I developed a better goal that I would rather be working toward? Has something changed? So using that regular time, quarterly, monthly, maybe even weekly, depending on what you want to do, to check in and say, is this a goal I still want? Is it something that still excites me? Because if it isn't, it's okay to change it. We grow. And that's the whole point of setting these resolutions and these goals, is because we grow and we evolve. And you might tap into something that's even more important to you. So use this time to check in with yourself. And my third suggestion for having a plan for failure is to come back to the why you set this resolution. So if you've decided, yes, this is something I still want to work toward, get back to that excitement of where you're going, okay? And just go, gosh, that is something I really, really want, and feel it in your body. Let it be visceral. Let that excitement of being really fit, or being in a career that really utilizes your skills, or having a bank account that just rocks out so awesome, right? Like, feel that. And if you still don't feel like getting started yet, again, during that break that you take, that you're going to take a little bit of a break, you're going to put it in your calendar at the end of that break to remind yourself to check in again. Do a lot of self-care, okay? That's going to fill you up. It's going to give you the energy again to get back into it. Now, if you're struggling a little bit with, I don't really know where to go or what I need to do here, I recommend checking out my free guide to the ultimate life reset. It's got a workbook with it. I talk you through every step, and you can fill out the workbook as you go along. And that is a great place to begin. And then stay tuned, because I've got some more videos coming out on how to figure out what you really, 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 really want, and how to set some goals for the new year. So I got some good stuff coming your way. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.